looking at that short video about I love Hong Kong, the climate change, and how we adopt a new lifestyle, that is very exciting for me because I started this environmental investment or business industry in 1993 when I tell people that I'm an environmental business. You know what they tell me? They say, well, you're a garbage collector. That's what everybody perceives. The green businesses is collecting garbage. And they don't even ask where do you dump it. Okay, just you're a collector. But today, as all of you are here, and looking at all the implementations and all the excitement in the industry, the reason I said excitement, because my part of the sharing is more of something close to our heart is the dollar sign as businesses, business opportunities. So I see that is expanding tremendously. I have friends from around the world in China asking me, what is the opportunity in Hong Kong? Well, I will share with you a little bit where does Hong Kong that I personally feel has an advantage and has been positioning for this whole 5-year plan. Now, I try to explain to some of the visitors what 5-year plan is I said this is a great smart idea, a country making a business plan for the next 5 years. That's what business do. So if we all act that way, I think we can at least have a target and move forward properly in business and in government. Well, I just want to show you some numbers, okay? The whole document is huge. But for comparison-wise, I just want to show you that if we're at Hong Kong, we're focusing, let's talk about just PRD. We can't just cover whole China that much quickly. But if just a PRD, we're talking about a huge amount of dollar business potential, from population-wise to the investment that is available in China. Now, we talk about 60,000 factories that Hong Kong owns across the border. Now, can you imagine the size of the market if we can all slowly getting a piece of that factories or doing something? This is what Edward just mentioned about the cleaner production was a good start initiator to get factories excited. Besides, they have to follow the regulations of China. Now, if you talk to any factory, any business operators in China now, what is your biggest headache besides the labor's rate and everything? The next thing they'll tell you is about the environment, because you are not even allowed to discharge water. I'm not talking about treated water. You don't even have water to start with. They want you to recycle 60% of water or more. If you're a polluting industry, they would not even grant you a license. So the environment has become a very major subject. Well, quickly, Hong Kong, we don't have a lot of factories anymore. We still have 3 industrial parks, which one of my company is in one of them. But we like to focus our technology base, because that's all we got is people and technology, and try to influence from the technology from around the world and bring it together and put it across the border, at least to our 60,000 capture audience, hopefully. I don't need to go through all this. You know that quite well. Being Consul Generals and Chamber of Commerce, you probably study all that a lot better than I do. Again, this is just some numbers, and I'm going to skip over. The challenges is continuous. It's changing. It's dynamic. In China, and I happen to be one of the Young Industrialist Council member who's one of the winner for the Young Industrialist Award. And when we get together, 120 people, then everybody looking at each other is, what is next? What's the new headache we're going to get from new policies from China? So it's continuous, it's coming. And we just, industrialists are pretty resistant. We are tough. We have to deal with millions of questions, but we continue. And so the green opportunity is here. And, well, again, I don't need to tell you all this. When I share with, I make different presentations, sometimes to universities. And when I share with the students, I said, well, We don't get something for nothing. So we gain all the business in China. We also, in exchange, we brought a lot of waste that we have, we are polluting. Well, I'm trying to skip over a little bit. But some of the numbers I want you just to have an idea is huge amount of money is going to go into the environment. Now, it's going to filter down, trickle down to every part of the industry. Edward mentioned about the auditing, about the consultancies, hardware, software, you name it. It's all coming up. And I have friends that call me because we have the Hong Kong Environmental Award for Excellence. And plus all the other green awards are coming up. And one of my friends called me up and said, Daniel, how do I win? I said, well, first, what have you done? If you haven't done much, you're not going to win. Now, today, back in a few years ago, if you've done something, you get something. You get some kind of recognition. Today, you might just get a merit because everybody's doing it. So what it's telling me is the business opportunity is getting bigger and bigger. People are getting much more serious. One very important information on the 12 5-year plan, in addition to what Edward mentioned earlier, is there's a clear wording saying zero waste. They want zero discharge, 零排放. Now, this is quite different because China, they used to talk about, meeting the standards and let you discharge. But they're going to go into totally try to move forward to zero discharge. Now, I'm happy. As a green technology provider, for years, I'm fighting with all these, companies that they find the cheaper alternative. They just drain it down the drain in the middle of the night. But when they said you're not allowed to discharge because we don't give you water to start out, okay? You can expand your plant as big as you want, but I'm not giving you one drop more water. So you have to recycle your water. So it forces people to really deal with this issue seriously. And I hope that will actually spill over to all the Chinese companies, not just the Hong Kong or multinationals. The zero discharge, especially on some of the polluting industry, there's really focus. The textile was another one that they're really looking at right now. As a matter of fact, next week I'll be in Shanghai speaking on how to reuse water and recover even color dye that we have developed a technology in Shanghai to all the Levi's and Gap's and all those jeans manufacturers. Well, the air is something that is close to our heart, and I think the carbon emission is definitely one of them. The carbon that we, I have talked to people that, the nuclear is definitely on the high subject today. But I ask people, what is alternative? If we could find a green, beautiful way that we can replace all the nuclear or even the coal power, that's great. But unfortunately, we're not there yet. So we still have to deal with that issue. And either we like it or not, we have to pick something. So the air and then all that pollution, we have to live with it. We can't just complain. In Hong Kong, there's something that I feel uncomfortable, that people seems to be complaining without a solution. If they're my staff, they'll be fired. Don't just bring all the problem to me. I need solutions, okay? So anyway, coming back to a little bit on the door to the China business, this green business is sunrise business. Hong Kong government have started to support it, but China also pushing greatly. Now, we have a lot of argument. Are they really doing it right or whatever? As a business person, I'm more liberal. I said, I don't care. If they start 100 projects, only 20 of them become successful, 10 become successful, it's better than none. The important is the change of lifestyle, the change of thinking. If we all think that it's going to be important, we're going to take one step at a time, let's do it. Better than not doing it at all. I hate those people who just say, well, we don't have a perfect solution, so we don't move. There's no perfect solution in life. We all know that. Well, I just want to bring out a few examples. Water treatment is really high on the agenda because the water in China, a lot of water are being polluted already in the lakes and the river. We all know that. So the water reuse is going to be a big industry for all the council generals and chambers. So any of your businesses in overseas that have great technology, bring it to Hong Kong. Now, I mentioned Hong Kong. I just recently shared a discussion with another group of friends. I said, Hong Kong is a good reference point because China, we all know that there's a big, huge market. The market is definitely in China. But if you could have a good technology exhibit of being used in Hong Kong, that will be a good reference because many of the Chinese companies, they want to look at Hong Kong as an example. If Hong Kong government can use it or Hong Kong business can use it, they got to be cost effective. That's what they're thinking about. So water treatment, even Hong Kong government, in the sewage treatment plant, not only do they discharge sewage, now they start recycling the water in the sewage plant. So we're quite honored. We actually helped them to do 3 of those projects. E-waste is another big opportunity. Okay, even Hong Kong is small, but it's a headache issue. We just recently have one of Mr. Pang from the 12 5-year plan focus on e-waste came to Hong Kong to speak to us, and they are still working out all the details. They're still a little, confused. They understand what they need to do, but the technology-wise, they still try to pick one. So if you have some good technology, bring to Hong Kong. By the way, May 13th is the last day the Eco Park will close the tender. I'm sure some of the e-waste manufacturers may be interested. That's a lot of money in this business, and I just cannot see why people don't recycle.